We will be spending part of this trip in the Everglades National Park. I'll explain the park boundary when we get to it. This is the saltwater portion of the Everglades. This is about the mangrove trees, the mangrove to mangrove cathedral, literally, created by the trees. Spectacular spot for photography. I'm going to talk about the trees at length, why they're protected, what's so unique about them. The rest of the trip is basically a Key Largo scenic cruise. Man-made canals try and get you next to a manatee. The Intracoastal is a protected waterway on the east coast of the United States. You can take a boat from Key West, Florida, which is that way. You can go to Bangor, Maine, almost to Canada, and you can do that entire trip without ever having to go into the open ocean. Created for military reasons, and when I say created, 99.9% of the water already existed. They had to do a little dredging in just a few places. These birds are the reason the Everglades National Park was created. Back in the early 1900s, ladies fashioned. They shot these birds to make them into hats for women. You weren't anyone if you did not own a bird feather hat. These are called plume feathers. They shot these birds, the plume hunters shot these birds by the hundreds of thousands. It was Mrs. Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, our president's wife. She hated this so much, she asked Teddy Roosevelt to do something about it. Teddy Roosevelt is the reason we have national parks. He started the national park system. Teddy goes to Congress, and literally overnight, Congress sets aside 1.5 million acres of land and water. They call it Everglades National Park, and they say no more bird hunting. Now here's the backstory. The first 2 rangers were murdered as soon as they got here by the bird hunters. The way the cormorant catches his fish, he can actually swim underwater. They can go 15 feet deep, 5 meters deep, hold their breath for half a minute. All the white here on the leaves is bird poop. Every single cormorant and every single pelican that lives in this part of the world, this is where they're all going to sleep tonight. There'll be 200 birds here come sunset. This is the only tree in the world that can grow in salt water. This is 100% salt water. It's not a mixture. It's the only tree that can do this. So if you look down in the roots, you can see how the seeds work. See, they begin floating flat. On the bottom, on the brown end of the seed, they start to make some roots. The roots get heavy, the seed goes this way. It puts itself in the shallow water, and this is how you have all of your new growth. Here's one that's just getting started. So by this time, it was 2 years on the tree. It's probably been floating for at least another year. And then this has a little bit of green growth going. This is probably already 4 or 5 years old. Yes, this is probably 30 years old. The reason for this slow growth is because these are under the canopy. They're fighting for sunlight. This tree is protected wherever it's found. You cannot cut them down. If you do, not only are the fines very large, but they're going to put these back in the ground anyway. So the joke we tell here is even Donald Trump is not allowed to clear mangroves. They lose their leaves. If they lose 90%, they stop photosynthesizing to the point where the trees will die. But because of the density of the wood, again, this wood is so dense it doesn't float. And because of the prop root system that's holding things up, even though the trees die, they don't fall down. Not for hundreds of years. this changes a few things. First, it's how the tree deals with the salt. This is 100% salt water. The salt has to go somewhere. It rides through the system. It goes into the leaves. The yellow leaves are the oldest. They've done their job. They've absorbed all the salt that they possibly can, and they die. Like the seed, it's not a once-a-year event. It's not seasonal. It actually takes several years for the leaves to do their job. Full-grown people bounce on that branch, it's dead 70 years, and it doesn't break. This is the strength even after death. These are very easily 2,000 years old. And National Geographic called this spot the prettiest place in Everglades National Park. This is called Hemingway's Pass. This is called the Key Largo Trailer Village. By today's rules and regulations, these canals wouldn't be allowed. This was known in those days as dredge and fill. What you're looking at here is literally man-made ground. Then, using dynamite, they blasted these canals down into the bedrock. Many of these are 10 meters deep. The reason they went so deep, they wanted the rock. They brought it up in big pieces. They crushed up the big pieces as best they could. Originally, this neighborhood was all manufactured homes, single wides and double wides. So where you see more than a manufactured home, like here on the right, this is where they scraped off the mobile home, poured a whole lot of concrete to stabilize the ground, and then they built up in the air from there. Many of the mobile homes are still here, not in very nice shape. The reason people don't do more to fix them up, it's become a why bother attitude. They're going to blow away one of these days. There's no stopping it from happening, so why make them pretty?